Did anything else make me happy? At the I could not talk today. Anyways. That was frustrating. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the Jess Chronicles. My name is Jess, and in today's video, I'm going to do the mid-year freakout book tag. So, here we go. The first one on the list is the best book that you have read this year. And for me, that is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I have already discussed this book in other videos, so I don't want to blab on too much about this one, but this is an incredible book. It's a classic, it's a gothic romance, so it kind of has a creepy, spooky, ooky feel to it. It's a coming of age story, and Jane is just an amazing character. She's one of the best literary characters ever written, I think, in my opinion. It's really just all about Jane's journey to discovering who she truly is and following her passion. It is so beautiful, and I will always recommend this book. Next on the list is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to, and I'm gonna go with these two here. Happy Place by Emily Henry. I recently picked it up from the library. They had it on a hold for me there. I was very excited when I got that email that this book was ready to pick up. And I'm a big Emily Henry fan. I've read all of her other books. People We Meet on Vacation is my favorite one. I don't really like to classify her books as romance. I feel like it's just more literary fiction, but there is obviously a lot of romance involved within the story. This is kind of a newer release. I believe this just came out this past May. This is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I earlier this year read this one by her, Life's Too Short, and I really just enjoyed her writing, and the banter between the characters was so much fun. I've heard really good things about this one, so yeah, excited to get to this one too. The next item on our list is Biggest Disappointment, and for that one, I gotta go with this right here, Verity by Colleen Hoover. So this was the first ever Colleen Hoover book I ever read, and I have to say it will probably be the only Colleen Hoover book I read. I know that she is a very, very popular author right now. I mean, any store that you go into, any bookstore, her books are just all over the place. I was disappointed by this one. I just saw on Goodreads that there were so many high ratings for this book, and I heard so much about the crazy, crazy twist at the end, and that it was just like so shocking and it was gonna blow my mind, but it did not blow my mind. So this is a thriller. It's like a psychological thriller, and it's got a little bit of romance in it too, although I really didn't see it as very romantic. But I will say that I was interested. I was intrigued by this book. So I thought this was entertaining, but not necessarily good. But one thing I will also say about Colleen Hoover's writing is it's very accessible. It seems like if her other books are set up this way, it's very simple storytelling, straight to the point. These are the characters, this is what's happening now. So I think that's great for someone who maybe wants to get into reading but doesn't want to dig into something, you know, overly complicated or like flowery language, stuff like that. I think Colleen Hoover is great for that, just making her stories, like I said, simple and accessible, but not for me. Next on the list is Biggest Surprise, and for that one I'm going to go with The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. So this is a literary fiction book, and it's set during World War II in France, and the main characters are these two sisters that get disconnected and then they're brought back together when the war starts. And this story is absolutely beautiful. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I knew that I was going to right when I read the first chapter. And this was a surprise to me because I had heard just so many great things about this book, all these rave reviews, but I didn't realize that this was such an adventure story. You really, from the first chapter, just get taken on this journey with Isabel. She's the main character. This story is powerful. It made me cry. I mean, given the context of this book being set in World War II, I kind of figured that I would cry at some point reading this book, but I think the best books make you cry. You know, some of the best books that I've ever read, I've shed some tears, and this was one of them. It was just a surprise because I didn't expect to be taken on an adventure like that, and it was incredible. Next on the list is favorite new author, so that can be a debut author that just put a book out or just new to me. So for this one, I'm going to go with Carley Fortune. I really enjoy her writing. I just read this book recently, Meet Me at the Lake, a beautiful little summertime romance. And her writing is just, it's so nice. It's so comfy and cozy. And one of the things that I loved about this book, and I actually also did just start Every Summer After by her as well. And it seems like in both of these books, there's a lot of focus on nature. And she really just writes these beautiful descriptions of being outside by the lake. This I thought was beautiful. I'm excited to get to Every Summer After as well. I think she is definitely one of my new favorite romance authors. Next on the list is newest fictional crush. And I thought a lot about this one, and I think I'm going to go with, I think it's Xaden, Xaden. Xaden from Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So I have not finished this book. I'm about 25% done with it right now, and I am absolutely loving it so far. So this is a fantasy book, and it's basically all about these college students that go to a dragon war college. I love this so far. This is such a great fantasy book. It's really just packed with action. And Xaden is the enemy character in this story. His enemy is Violet. Just the way that he's described in this book, it's just magical. I'm really hoping that there's gonna be some spice between these two characters. I think that would be really fun. So Xaden from Fourth Wing is my new fictional crush. Also, look at this. Look at the pages with the dragon like stamps. I love it. I love the dragons in this book. They all have different powers and abilities, and this is like exactly the type of fantasy book that I have been wanting lately. So I'm loving this so far. Anyways, what's next? What's next? Next on the list is newest favorite character. And for that one, I'm gonna go with Fourth Wing again, and I'm gonna go with Violet. She is the main female protagonist, and she is just so courageous. She's got a lot up against her. There are a lot of people that doubt her abilities and what she's able to do within this dragon war college, and she's trying to make it through. She's trying to make it to the top and become a dragon rider. And I just always love characters like this that have a lot of self-reflection and growth within the story. I think by the end of this, she's gonna be just a completely changed person. So I gotta go with Violet on that one. Next is a book that made you cry. So I already talked about The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. That absolutely made me cry. But another book that I read this year that made me cry was Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. And this is a literary fiction book about a woman named Tova, and she's going through a really hard time because she lost both her son and her husband. She forms a friendship while working at an aquarium with a giant Pacific octopus. And I just think octopuses, it is octopuses, it's not octopi. I just think octopuses are such amazing animals. They are highly intelligent, and when they're held in captivity, they like to do things like solve puzzles because they just need something to do with their mind. They're kind of like alien-like creatures when you really think about it. Anyways, obviously I'm not gonna give away what happens at the end, but it made me cry. I feel like any book or movie that has an animal as the main focus is automatically gonna always make me cry. What, Tullers? We gotta look at Tully real quick. He's being so cute. Hi. Alright. Next on the list is a book that made you happy. Did anything else make me happy? I'm gonna go with this one, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. So this is a cozy fantasy book. It's about an orc named Viv. So an orc is like a human / goblin creature. I had to look that up when I started reading this because I had no idea what an orc was. So normally in fantasy books, there's this big, gigantic epic war at the end. So Viv, in the little town that she comes from, that's what she's doing. She's been fighting all these battles with these other creatures, and she wants to retire and stop doing that and open up a cozy little coffee shop. So that's basically the main premise of this whole book. It's described as high fantasy with low stakes. It's just so nice sometimes to read a book where not that much drama is happening. This book is just so cute and heartwarming, and it's perfect to cuddle up with a cup of coffee on a rainy day or a sunny day or whenever. Definitely made me feel happy and warm and fuzzy inside. Next is the most beautiful book that you've bought or received this year. Dance of Thieves, Vow of Thieves. I have still not read these books, but I've heard really good things. So this is a fantasy duology, and I believe it's an enemies to lovers situation as well. So I do want to read these soon, but I love these covers. I also love this cover so much. I'm one day gonna stop talking about my girl Jane, maybe, but also probably not. And I think this cover is beautiful. Also, I really thought this cover was very fun as well. This is The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. I didn't love this book. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I also don't love that you can't get rid of this Target exclusive little, it looks like a sticker, but it's not. That was frustrating. But I do love this cover. Didn't love the book. And the last thing on the list is, what book or books do you still need to read this year? And there are so many books that I still need to read this year because I set a goal on Goodreads to read 70 and I've read about 21. So I'm pretty behind. Let's talk about what I still would like to read. Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Like I said earlier, she is really becoming one of my favorite romance authors. Love her writing. Also Part of Your World. So these are both just contemporary romance stories. Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I've heard that it kind of has My Year of Rest and Relaxation vibes. I know this is kind of a controversial book. I really love this book. I enjoyed it. I have a lot of things to say. It's about a couple who I believe kind of very abruptly gets married on a whim, and it's just about their relationship and the ups and downs that come with it. And also set in New York City, I believe, as well, so I love that. I have Adelaide. Who wrote Adelaide? Who wrote Adelaide? I need to look this up. Who wrote that book? I don't know. So it's Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler, and this is, I believe, a contemporary romance about a girl named Adelaide, and she's from America but moves to London and falls in love. That's basically all I know, but that's on hold for me at the library, so I'm excited to go pick that up soon. Would maybe like to possibly finish the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I also started that earlier this year but did not finish it. I'm normally a fantasy or a romance reader. That's usually what I'm drawn towards. So I'm hoping to read maybe a little bit more sci-fi. Oh, sci-fi. Like this one here, Red Rising by Pierce Brown. And this is set on Mars. And it's kind of got a little bit of a Divergent vibe because all the people that live here on Mars are separated into these color-coded groups. So the main character of this book, he's considered a red. It says, a story of vengeance, warfare, and the quest for power, reminiscent of the Hunger Games and Game of Thrones. I would like to dig into maybe more of the mystery thriller genre this year. I feel like I haven't read any thriller books that have really wowed me so far. I'm like just waiting for a twist that just blows my mind. I've heard The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides, I think that's how you say his last name, is really good, and I've heard the twist in that is like mind-blowing. Also, Happy Hour by Marlo Granados. Haven't gotten to this one yet. Hopefully I will soon. This is basically about two best friends that move to New York City together, and they don't have much money. They're doing all these different odd jobs and just getting into wild situations. This seems like a fun time. Alright, I think that's it for me today for this mid-year freakout tag. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish things in the future. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!